What's up guys, it's time for another free-to-play banner review. In version 5.2, first half features two bow users Chasca and Lini, while for the second half, Neuvillette is once again having another rerun, this time together with Zhongli. So the same old question, is any of them worth pulling at all? That's what I would like to share for this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, since Chasca is the star of version 5.2, let's start with our new character first. For your information, Chasca is truly one of the most special DPS that I've ever made, because instead of dealing animal damage from her own vision, she converts a big portion of her attacks into 4 other suitable elements, namely Cryo, Pyro, Electro, and Hydro. How that works is actually fairly simple. Initially, Chasca starts with 6 animal bullets per shot, and for each correct teammate she brings, 1 bullet gets replaced into the stronger bullet with corresponding element. So basically with a full team of 4 members, she'll have 3 animal bullets with 3 elemental bullets. Pretty straightforward, right? Now here comes the interesting part. Both of the passive talent heavily encourages you to bring 3 different elements for her team, which sounds extremely similar to C0 Neuvillette. Passive 1 gives you a chance to additionally convert 1 animal bullets into elemental, while passive 2 heavily buffs her damage the more elements you bring. So simply put, her entire playstyle is to pair with 3 elements and watch the whole world burns with all the random reactions, similar to rainbow teams with Dendro units. That's basically Chasca in a nutshell, in which needless to say she will be absolutely chaotic and fun to play. However, as interesting as she is, I can hardly recommend her if you start thinking about her strength in meta. One of the worst part is definitely her AoE, because from the looks of it, all her attacks are 100% purely single target, just like Yoimiya. That's an absolute disaster for a main DPS, because the moment she's up against more than 2 enemies, she's basically dead. Her entire damage output is literally cut in half. Possibly even worse considering the chance of not triggering reactions such as Vaporize and Melt. That's the fundamental flaw to Chasca's moveset, which unfortunately has no way to fix it at all. I've tried to think about the possible solutions, but honestly it doesn't seem like there's one. One of the ideas is to go for AoE reactions such as Overload, but then she doesn't scale on Elemental Mastery, which makes all the transformative reactions obsolete even after the buffs. So once again we'll have no choice but to rely on teammates, which unfortunately brings us to our next weakness of her. No good teammates. Although she welcomes everyone from 4 different elements into the team, her kit is just so unorthodox with too many restrictions to the point that almost none of them can really pair well with her, which is just absolutely crazy. Because she's dealing 4 types of elemental damage at the same time, it makes it really hard to find a support for her, since most of them only work on 1 type of damage. That basically leaves only 5 supports in the game who can actually buff her. And guess what? She bans 3 of them because they are Animal and Joe. Wow! Okay fine, if Hypercarry doesn't work, how about sub DPS? That's the moment I realized there's almost none either, all because of a slow charge attack. As if that's not restrictive enough, I've heard rumors about she loses all the bullets if she gets interrupted when charging the shot, meaning that she must bring a shield no matter what. So finally, after meeting all the terms and conditions, here's basically all that's left for her team. That's how versatile she is. So with only these options available, the best team we could go for is obviously the Fulina, Bennett and Diona, in which I'm actually curious enough to try this combo with Wanderer just to have a test of it first. So we have double the second impact, Fulina without team-wide healing, a shield that's just barely functional, all together with severely lack of energy on everyone because of 4 different elements. What could go wrong, right? Honestly, that's just horrible. But of course, all these problems comes from caring about the meta. In normal circumstances, I won't doubt she can carry the whole team by herself, even though her teammates are only there assisting for her bullets without doing anything else, just like Neuvillette carrying 3 random followers. But then, if you really do need such character, I see no reason to choose Chasca over Neuvillette, who's undoubtedly much stronger and versatile in almost every way. So I guess, unless you need someone to explore the maps, or you just wanna have fun like we all should, it's best for you to skip her. Especially when Madoka is just around the corner next patch. Now it's time for the long-awaited Neuvillette review. Ever since day 1 of his release, Neuvillette is undoubtedly the absolute strongest DPS in the game, completely outclasses everyone else even for today. Just look at this, not a single other DPS can do a version of what he does right here, so obviously he's still very worth pulling. But as perfect as he is as a main DPS, it might not be the best idea to put him right now for just one reason. Madoka, the Pyro Archon, is coming right after him. Honestly, that's all the reason you need to skip him, but I will be explaining more just for your benefits. While Neuvillette's kit is indeed invincible with all the crazy stuffs, it's not exactly the best damage dealer as C0, especially ever since Nahlan. You can see that with the current events, where both C0 Malanik and Kimmich performs better in terms of raw damage output. Besides, that's not even mentioning all the new enemies heavily favors Nahlan characters, which is honestly not that surprising considering power creeps happens all the time in gacha games, let alone for a DPS that's already 1 year old. So basically, if you want Neuvillette to be future proof, I would say he needs C1 to be able to get out with all the future Nahlan DPS, otherwise he might get power creep real fast. This constellation not only provides a huge damage buff by itself, but also it allows Synonym to replace Zhongli thanks to his interrupt resistance. Both points together actually results in at least 40% damage boost, which is just ridiculous. But still, let's not forget C1 Neuvillette is really not cheap at all, so unless you already have him as C0, it's actually best to skip him. Besides, if you truly have enough Primogems for 2 5 stars, it's actually better to just save it for Madoka, so you can even offer her C2 by the time she comes out. Usually that's where the Archons truly becomes broken, not to mention they are usually supports, who is arguably more valuable than a main DPS. But of course, it's not like you have to decide right now. It's very fortunate for Neuvillette to be on the second half, so you have all the information about Madoka even before his banner starts. So if she really turns out to be weaker than we expected, you have all the time you need to pull Neuvillette. Well, Zhongli is quite an interesting one because recently they've just introduced Synonym, who is basically a better Zhongli as a damage support. So if you already have her, you will probably find skipping him this time. But just from my experience, Synonym cannot really replace Zhongli entirely, mainly because Zhongli's shield is still invaluable, being basically invulnerable while providing full interrupt resistance. That's incredibly useful for a lot of DPS, so it's not really a bad idea to pull him even if you already have Synonym, but only if you have enough Primogems left afterwards to guarantee at least C0 Madoka. That's my thought on Zhongli. Well, finally it's time for the conclusion. Because we can pretty much guarantee Madoka is on version 5.3, I highly recommend you to skip everyone for her, including Neuvillette unless you are already having a C0 and you are aiming for his C1. Other than that, it's not really ideal to pull C0 Neuvillette right now, meta-wise of course. As for the others, Zhongli is the only one worth pulling for now, especially if you don't have Synonym. But no matter what you do, you should definitely step up enough Primogems to at least guarantee a C0 Madoka. That's basically the whole point for this video. So what do you think about this video? Let me know if you have different opinions. Thanks for watching and I'll be seeing you in the next one.